After deploying more than 5,000 grid bots, this is by far the best and most predictable way to make money using grid trading bots that will earn you passively between 0.10 up to 1% every single day. Let me show you how this strategy works. So the very first thing we need is volatility. That is the fuel for the system. That is what it's going to make the grid trading bots insane amount of profits. But to find volatility, you need to have these settings right here. So the very first thing we're going to head is we're going to go to CoinMarketCap and we're going to be using these filters here. And then on filters, we want to set the age of the coin minimum 4 years because we need to have volatility, 3 years. We need to have volatility, but overall, right? Not just volatility for a couple of days or a couple of weeks. We need to have overall volatility so the bot can place a ton of buy and sell orders. Then once we have that, you're going to use the exchange. In this case, I will be setting up a bot with around $20,000 using Binance. And then in the market cap, we're going to do a minimum of 100 million and a maximum of 3 billion. Once all of this is set, we will click on apply and then we will just search from the lowest volatility to the highest. Now I'm just going to go through a few coins and I'll tell you what we're looking for. We are looking for sideways movement. We're looking for a cryptocurrency that has been moving sideways for a minimum of 6 months. The longer the cryptocurrency has been moving sideways, the better. So this one, for example, looks pretty beautiful. To be completely transparent with you guys, I already had a look into it. It was already looking pretty good. But once you have the coin that you want to be setting up because it looks sideways, it has a great volatility, you will be using this indicator called the CBA 2.0 indicator. If you want to have access to this indicator, just check the link in the description and you will get it for free. It will tell you what is the metric of the volatility. So all we have to do left now is we're going to search the coin. We want to make sure you are in the right cryptocurrency, in the right exchange, and then we can indeed see this coin has a lot of volatility because the metric is high. We're looking for something high volatility. Then once we have done this, we will identify what is the range, what is the price action in percentage the coin will be moving up and down. This is crucial because if you don't have a grid range, then your bot can get out of range, it's not going to make any money, and it won't be able to place successful buy and sell orders. So it is crucial you understand what grid range you will be using. In this instance, the easiest way to identify your grid range is by defining a support and defining a resistance, just like this one. Then clicking on the price range, which is found right here. We're going to drag all the way down from resistance to support, and this number right here will be our grid range. That is how much price action the bot will cover. Think about grid range this way. Whenever the bot is within these parameters, it will be able to place buy and sell orders. Now, if it goes below that, it's fine because we're still going to have trailing down. But ideally, by this point, say for example, the coin moves like this, and it takes about 2 months to get out of range for some reason. Maybe the overall crypto market turned bearish, whatever, right? So 2 months later, the cryptocurrency goes below your support level. Because we have trailing down activated, the cryptocurrency will readjust itself to the new price of the cryptocurrency. Now, by this point, you might be asking yourself, is it going to be losing money? Is it going to be draining my funds? Well, the short answer is no, because by this point, 2 months later or 1 month later or whatever the time frame that is, the bot will be accumulating bot profit. And that will be the bot profit that we'll be using in case things go south. If things don't go south and things stay as planned, so that is the main idea. Once you have figured out the optimum grid range and you know the coin has great volatility because you're using the CBA 2.0 indicator, now it's time to do some deep back testing. And we do this within 120 days. Everyone inside CBA has access to this table, plus the full formula on how to set up successful grid trading bots for long term that average between 6 to 20% a month. So if you want to grab a copy, then book a call below and we'll help you install the whole system for you. That being said, what we're going to do is we're going to test different grid step percentages until we get the highest profit, and then we split that by a monthly percentage just to have an idea of what can be expected every single month. So just going back to this example, I will be setting up this bot here called XVJ USDT, and I will be investing around $17,000. Now, I know my grid range is 61%, but what I want to do first is I want to backtest the last 120 days and figure out the best settings for the bot. So this is what we have to do. Using the price range, we will go back in time 120 days. Gonna look something like this. And pay attention to this part because it can be a little bit tricky. We will do a 60% grid range. That is the price action we are thinking about using for this specific bot. So let's go ahead and do 60%. And now we're going to readjust the low price and also the high price. Now we could set up the bot right now with 0.52%, but then you wouldn't be optimizing anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from 0.70 all the way down or all the way up to 1.90%. I'm going to write down all of the profits and then divide that by 120 or 4 months and get the expected monthly percentage. So let me go ahead and do that right now. I'll show you 2 examples and then I'll just complete all of these. Also, when you're using Bitscap, you want to ensure that this number here says 120 days. So how do you do that? Well, first you have to check 120 days ago. When was that? That was the 13th of August. So you click on the calendar, change this for August, and then 13, apply, and we backtest. Now let's see what we get. Cool. So over the last 120 days, we got a 33.49%. So what we're going to do now is we come back to this table and we write down this percentage. And then this is optional, but it does help you understand what can be the potential earning. This one is around 8.40. Oh my God, guys. All right, 8.37%. That way, you have an expectation of what can be achievable when set up this grid bot with this cryptocurrency and these specific settings. So I'm pretty sure we can get something better than that. So I'm going to go ahead and do 0.8%. Give it a quick back test again. 34%. Okay, that's better. And I'll just divide this again. 34.26 divided by 4. 8.5. So it's getting better. It's getting better. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and complete all of these numbers here. I'm going to go ahead and complete all of these different grid step percentages. By the way, guys, you only want to play around with the grid step percentage. Do not modify the number of grid levels. So I'll go ahead and do all of these and show you the results. All right, guys. So I'm done with all of the back testing. And so far, the biggest result we have had is a 10.27% expected monthly percentage, which is pretty good. And it's around the target we're looking for. But I'm not going to choose it. And I'll tell you why. Well, the 1.90% grid step percentage is quite a little bit too big in the gap between every buy and sell order. And yes, well, that does give you a higher profit every time the bot makes a buy and a sell order. It doesn't work all the time. So for example, here, I noticed something interesting. During this time, we had a lot of volatility, a lot of up and downs, and that's where the bot made most of the profit. In fact, when I show you on the back testing, we checked this was on the around the dates of the 30th of September until the 12th of October. So I'll go ahead and do the back test once again, and I'll show you these. We can see that the bot made most of the profit, around $7 per transaction, around that time here. So I'll just go back to this date. A lot of buy and sell orders, a lot of sell orders were executed there. So I'm looking for something that is more consistent. So when things go a bit slow per se, which will happen, and that is totally normal, volatility tends to slow down, you can still make a decent profit per trade. So then I decided to pick the number with the highest profit, is still keeping the grid step percentage relatively small, and that is the 1.50%. It's getting us pretty much 40%, around the 10% a month, which we're looking for, but it has a 0.4 minus the 1.90, meaning the distance is a lot shorter, and during slow times, it will be more profitable. So for example, and I'll prove this to you right now, we can check this out. Let's check out the dates from, let's go ahead and backtest these specific times here. So we can backtest only these 45 days, that is from the 13th of August to the 27th of September. Let's first use the 1.9% and let's see what we get. So I'll manually adjust that. So I have adjusted the backtesting to backtest this specific period of time where the volatility of the coin wasn't the best, right? We even had a bit of a downtrend, but there wasn't anything crazy going on. So let's go ahead and backtest this, and we can indeed see a 3.74% in the results using 1.9% grid step percentage. So if I go ahead and backtest this with 1.5%, this should give us a higher percentage. So when backtesting with 1.9% is getting us 3.74%, and when backtesting with the 1.5 is getting us 3.81. So slightly higher. It's still higher considering the price action was very, very slow during this time. So that's perfect. We still can go ahead and set up this one this way. So what I'm gonna do now is, once we have identified the optimum grid step percentage and also the grid range, all you have to do left is do the smart launch. That is a couple of red lines above market price, and then drag all the way down until you hit that 60% of price action we're going to be covering. And then we can go ahead and set up this bot just like this. So that way you have a money-making machine that will average you around 10% a month and is not trying to predict the price of the market. But I know this can be, now before we finish this, make sure that trailing up is on, prompt protection on, trailing down on. We're going to leave it as default, continue, and start the bot. Now, before you click off this video, guys, if you want to have access to the indicators, just click the link down below and get them for free. I'll send them over to you. That being said, guys, I hope this video makes sense. If you have any questions, just comment down below in the comments and we'll get back to you. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you and see you on the next video.